Hello everybody, thanks for coming by. I'm here to do an AstroTarology talk with you today. This won't be a tarot reading, but I'll be using tarot cards to demonstrate the points. I'm going to be dealing with the idea of detachment from love. Oftentimes in the spiritual community, especially in the tarot community, we talk about things like attachment styles, especially in accordance with people's astrological signs, which is helpful, sure. The more we know, the better, right? But what we often don't talk about is the idea of detachment styles and how you detach when love doesn't behave in accordance with your expectations of it. We are talking about the pure energy of love here. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to start by stating what shouldn't need to be said, but these are just my opinions. These are things I've observed both as an astrologer, a tarot reader, and a regular practitioner of the energy of love. These are things that I've come to understand, and I want to share those with you guys. Take it as it resonates for you. Everybody has their own experience and their own beliefs around this. Hopefully, some of my observations could be of use to you. Okay, you guys, I'm talking today about the pure energy of love, not the associated behaviors, okay? So when we put context or contracts around the idea of love, that's a separate matter. Because when we're forced to detach from a situation, and let's face it, most of us won't unless we're forced. When we're forced to detach from a situation, there can be the impulse to definitely want to try to destroy the feeling of love associated with that situation. By saying, well, if it was love, it wouldn't have gone this way. They wouldn't have treated me this way. It would have lasted forever if it was love. But love as a pure energy source has no context. It's we as people that want to put it into a contextual type experience, right? So it's like, well, if I'm feeling this towards somebody else, it must mean A, B, C, or D. Either they're my boyfriend, girlfriend, my husband, my wife, my this, my that, right? This person, this experience of love will fit into this definable box of it. Because that gives us an easier way to handle the ambiguity that is love. And love is a very ambiguous thing. The other thing that we often will do is be like, well, I cannot move on. I cannot accept more love or different love or new love into my life if I still contain the energy of love for another person. I don't believe that myself. I believe that the heart has an endless capacity to hold love, and it's always growing. In fact, the more you engage in the experience and keep your heart open for that purpose, the greater your capacity to love becomes. Because from my way of looking at it, love has nothing to do with the contracts or constructs we put around it. In my last talk, which wasn't very popular, not surprisingly, I spoke about our responsibility to love as an energy. Not to the person, not to the associated action, but purely the energy of love. Love being an unconditional emotional experience. Relationships are not unconditional. Those are contracts, those are constructs. And we put barriers and boundaries and codes of conduct and rules of engagement. That's all fine. But that actually has nothing to do with the energy of love. Love will exist in or out of any kind of contact or context or contract or any kind of, boundary that we want to put around it. That's the whole thing. So when it comes time to detach from the relationship of love, there can definitely be a tendency, One of the main things I hear as a tarot reader is, well, I'm afraid of love. What if I get into this experience of love and I feel pain? Well, I would stop people right there and say, you will. You absolutely will. There is no way to experience the energy of love without feeling the experience of emotional pain. So then people's response may be, well, then I just won't love because I don't want pain. Well, love is not a choice. It's an energetic experience, and we're here in it. And it's everywhere. There is absolutely no way to detach from love, especially as revenge for pain. It just doesn't work that way in the energy field, nor does energy comply with our human constructs. I've talked about this before when it comes to the idea of casual engagements or sexual engagements that we call casual sex, which in my opinion isn't a thing. Because again, energy has nothing to do with the intellect. And love is a pure energy. So you can say, well, we had this agreement that it was only going to be a casual construct that we put around this situation. And now you're reneging on our agreement. Well, because that agreement, again, doesn't apply to the energy of love. So what happens when we need to detach? We'll often feel the predilection to want to try to destroy the energy or awareness of love that lives in that situation because it's not behaving in the context that we wanted it to behave in. But I love this person. We made vows to each other. We said it was going to go A, B, C, and D, and this is how it was going to start, this is how it was going to look, and this is how it's going to end. But again, we actually have no say in that. It takes a lot of hubris for us to assume that we do, that love will comply with what we say it must do, or that that person will simply because there is the energy of love that exists between us. I understand the tendency to want to detach. But to detach and to also try to kill the love that you feel in that situation is actually where the pain comes from. The pain is happening because love did not observe your boundaries of it. Again, I am saying that relationships, at least in my mind, do have conditions on it. The energy of love doesn't. And the hardest thing in the world we're ever asked to do is to walk away from our expectation of the behavior of love. To not pass judgment on the energy simply because it didn't behave or obey with what we decided it must do, regardless of any contractual arrangements made between two people. Because again, love is not observant of our human constructs, it's a pure energy. So how do we detach from the physical experience of love and still hold on to the beautiful gift that is love? Well, the signs all have something to teach us about that. So what I'm going to do today is I'll go through all 12 signs and we'll talk about their detachment style. Because for me as a protector of love is what it's my interest, it's what I hope to be, it's what I aspire to do. Purely on an energetic level, let's talk about love and the detachment of bringing that with us, even when we need to detach from the relationship of love. Hopefully that makes sense, you guys. I'm going to start off with I'm going to go fixed, cardinal, mutable. All of the signs, there's 4 signs that belong to each energetic grouping, and they all have something that we can learn. Today I'm dealing with the sun sign energy, but just like love, astrology is not really isolated to your sun sign. It doesn't comply with behaviors. I would also pay attention to this in terms of your Venus, your Mars, your rising, and your North Node. We have Pluto right now shifting out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Pluto is our karmic destiny as a collective. It is our past, it's the karma we carry forward, it's our underworld, it's our psyche. And it's switching out of the confines of Capricorn where it's been for 16 years. In other words, this is how it's done. This is the structures we place around the experience of relationship and love. And in order for it to qualify as any of those things, it must behave in accordance with these rules. If it's love, they won't push my boundaries. If it's love, then they wouldn't behave this way, right? As if we understand the way love actually behaves. Again, relationships are a separate endeavor. That is where the boundaries do apply. So to walk away and still hold on to the purity of love is a very, very difficult thing to do. And yet we're asked to do it all the time. Often as a reader, I hear too, it's like, well, I love them. How could they hurt me like this? I hope they feel it too. You love them and you hope they feel the pain you're feeling. Love is an unconditional energy. If you actually have pure love in your heart for another person, then you want them to experience the fulfillment of their soul's journey here on earth, even if that doesn't include your physical presence. Because, well, I will give them unconditional love if they give me unconditional love, but if they don't, then I won't. Again, we're putting contracts and context around the energy of love because it is so hard to walk away from what we expect the energy of love to behave like. Instead of saying, well, this gift, this beauty, this energy, this vibration between us exists regardless of what context we decide to put this in. So let's start off with the fixed signs. That's Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. I'm starting there because, and the reason I'm having this talk now is, of course, because Scorpio. For me, one of my greatest admirations of Scorpio as an energy is its ability to detach with love. The fixed signs will do that. They understand that. It's kind of a natural process for them. So I'll walk through the fixed signs and we'll talk about what their detachment style is like. Let's start off with Scorpio. I've pulled out the major arcanas that represent these signs because the cards themselves have a lot to teach us about the behavior of detachment. Scorpio energy is all about transmutation. It's death and rebirth. It's all about how do we grow? How do I utilize this energy? So when Scorpio detaches, it is with absolute, because all of the fixed signs, when the detachment happens, it's done. But Scorpio will detach with the energy of, well, how am I going to use this experience? How am I going to transmute the energy of love I feel for this person into something else? How will I create a new experience from this energy that exists between us? Scorpio can detach, like I said, with absolute from the relationship, but from the love, no. And that's where Scorpio's energy of the Eight of Cups comes in. For me, the Eight of Cups is all about having the courage to walk away from things that don't reach the place of fulfillment that you want your heart to experience. But notice how he's not walking away from 8 destroyed cups. He's walking away from 8 full cups, meaning you don't have to destroy what something was in order to walk away from it. I feel pain because the relationship didn't reach the construct or contextual contract I put it in. So I feel pain, so I must destroy the cups of love. Scorpio understands that love is an energy. And you can walk away in pursuit of fulfillment of your own heart without having to destroy the energy that existed between you. Because every time we experience the beautiful gift of love, it is for our own personal growth. Another thing Scorpio understands. That's why the transmutation of energy, right? The Tower is also associated with Scorpio. For me, it is. One of Scorpio's co-ruling planets is Mars, and this is Mars energy. And Mars is all about, I will continue to move on from things that don't work to support the structure I want to build. So again, the relationship aspect has to fall away, but at the core, at the foundation, the energy of love still remains. And the endless capacity to grow from it, hence the Eight of Cups. To expand into deeper and deeper experiences of love as you gain that understanding of your own heart and your own experience of it. Scorpio will use the energy of pain, of disappointment, of all of those mental constructs we put around the behavior of relationship. It will use that disappointment to grow, to succeed, to live on, to pass love on, to keep in the energy of love. Walking away with an open heart is probably the hardest thing to do. Let's get to Leo, where we have the sun and the strength. Leo is an amazing energy, fixed fire. Leo will detach with pride when the time comes to need to detach, with courage. So part of Leo will be like, okay, fine. If my sunshine isn't enough here, if you cannot feel the warmth of my glow, then I have the courage to say, it isn't fundamental here, it isn't growing here. So Scorpio, Leo will attach with pride in who they are and their own capacity to love. It's also about the courage to go within upon heartbreak and search out your own ego. In other words, was it your ego that placed the constructs around the energy created between you? If they loved me, this. If they loved me, that. If this was love, then the contract around it would be observed. But again, love has nothing to do with that. So having the courage to go within and conquer the ego that keeps you out of the experience of love is one of Leo's main things. Leo rules the heart. So the detachment comes with courage, with honor, and with pride. And then let's get to Taurus. Taurus is the Empress and the Hierophant. So when it comes time for Taurus to detach with love, well, the Empress is very much like the Death card in that sense, understanding the transmutation of energy. Whatever comes my way, I will transmute into something that I can grow, something I can plant, something I can benefit from. Now, Taurus with the Hierophant, there's a tendency for the traditional structures to be put around love, right? Taurus likes to feel comfortable, safe, supported, unlike its opposite sign of Scorpio, which is all about risk. Taurus wants to have structures put around the experience of love. What can we make out of this? What can we physicalize out of this? So when it comes time for Taurus to have to detach, there can definitely be anger. It's a very stubborn sign. I have a Taurus moon, so I say this with love. It's a very stubborn sign. There can be an anger because, again, it didn't comply with what we thought it would comply with, what we said it must observe. When it comes time for Taurus to detach, the detachment can be with the honor of love in your heart. I will protect the energy of love. I will grow it into something abundant, no matter what the experience and the construct is. Taurus will answer to the true love within the heart. That's what the Empress and the Hierophant do. It's knowing where your own belief systems lay when it comes to love and relationship and your own spiritual center. So the way this love is behaving in the practical, physical sense is not complying with the structures I put around it. So I must walk away from that structure, but not from the love. The love can be carried and transmuted into different experiences. The heart has an endless capacity to love. In other words, the pain comes when we try to stop the feeling rather than the relationship. And then we get to Aquarius. The star. The star comes after the Tower in tarot. Aquarius to me is the master of detaching with love. It is the water bearer of the zodiac, meaning it has a deep intrinsic understanding of the behavior of emotions. Many people will say that Aquarius can be a very cold and detached sign to begin with. I disagree. I think it's just that they understand the behavior of love has nothing to do with the context. And the star card very much points to that. First of all, it's written in the stars, right? I'm getting a line from Leonard Cohen now from his song, There Ain't No Cure for Love, where he says, all the rocket ships are climbing to the sky, the holy books are open wide, the doctors working day and night, but they'll never ever find a cure for love. And then later in the song, he says, there's nothing pure enough to be the cure for love. Aquarius understands that, but also understands that on a higher level, it has nothing to do with the behavior. Aquarius walks away with perspective and hope. They're able to detach from the personal experience of the emotion and use the energy to guide them through the next process of love. It is about the collective. It's about what is good for everybody involved here. So again, we can have a tendency as people, and me, my chart is 90% fixed, you guys, so I know what I'm talking about here. We can have the idea that, it has to behave in this way or else I can't feel love for it. And that's where the pain comes from. And that is something I find Aquarius very adept at handling. In the highest vibrational form, we are talking about pure energy. I always know anytime I talk to people about this stuff, they'll be like, well, I dated an Aquarius and this isn't about that. We're just talking about what the zodiac has to teach us about detachment styles, okay? All right, let's move on to the mutables. Now, for me, the mutables are actually the most adept at walking away with love in many ways, because they have a more I won't say self-focused, self-generating ability to navigate through energy. Let's put it that way. There's the ability to kind of flow through the experience and keep on moving that I observe with very many mutable signs. So we'll start off with Sagittarius, mutable fire. As opposed to fixed fire, it's a little bit different. With Sag, there isn't so much that, well, fine, if you don't like the sun, I'll take it away. Sag, the 9th house, is the bridge house between the physical and spiritual experience of love. So as above, so below. Sag has a tendency to always be curious about how deep it can go and how high it can go. So when the time comes to need to move away, Wheel of Fortune, it isn't prosperous for me here, to move away from the energy of love. It's done so with an eye on the future. It's done so with an eye on the philosophical, with the need to learn, grow, and expand. If this experience of love or the context that we put it in is holding me down from growth in any way, then it's not serving the greater good of love. It's not achieving that higher level of connectivity, and that's what Sag likes. Constant growth, constant curiosity, and also fun. And it isn't about, well, I'm bored of this person, so I'm going to move on. It's that the context we put the love between us in is not functioning in a way that's growth-oriented and expansive for both of us. So I must detach. And I'll do so with the perspective of as above, so below. Sag can handle the detachment from the physical experience of love and still hold on to the energy generated. As the wheel turns, right? There's fate involved. Now we have Pisces, mutable water. Pisces will detach in silence. But also, none of the water signs actually detach from love, in my opinion. Again, we can detach from the experience of the relationship we put to love. But detaching from the energy is just something water signs do not do. They carry it with them, no matter what, and Pisces does. Pisces, like Aquarius, has a certain ability to detach with perspective. Unconditional love goes hand in hand with the energy of Pisces. There's the High Priestess. The High Priestess that cannot put a language, a construct, or a contract around energy. And that's also what the Hanged Man understands here, is that it's not about here on earth. That's why his feet aren't on the ground. That's why she can't apply a physical language to what she's experiencing, because it's in the abstract realm. It's Neptune. It's in the dreams, it's in the psyche, it's in the heart, not in the physicality of it. So when Pisces must detach, they detach with that perspective, right? Now we have Gemini. Okay. Now Gemini shares the Magician with Virgo, its fellow mutable earth sign. Gemini is mutable air. When Gemini, it's all about curiosity for Gemini. Learning, new experiences, expansion. It's similar to Sag in that way. In fact, all the mutables are. That's why they're mutables together. This is the vision that we set. Gemini will detach from love also with anger, with intellect, because it is an air sign. But in its highest form, it will detach, look at that Lover's card, with the knowledge that these things exist on a soul level and can be transmuted with the Magician into anything that you want it to be transmuted into. It's about taking that heart connection, that soul connection, and applying it in a different way. It's all about the transmutation with Gemini and the curiosity to know more. So if Gemini is forced to be in a position where it can no longer be curious about what construct love can take, it can take the energy of that love, transmute it into something else, and move forward in an energy of curiosity. We have the Hermit, Virgo, mutable earth. The Hermit is, or Virgo shares the Magician because Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. This is Mercury energy. Now, Virgo will detach with, like, how can I, when Virgo's forced to detach, it's like, well, how can I use this? How can I form something practical, something healthier, something more useful from the energy of pain or love that I'm experiencing in this detachment? Virgo will take it inward and see what it means for them. What did I learn from this? What structures can I build in the future? How can I recontextualize this energy of love, recontextualize the Magician? How can I carry it with me internally and allow that beautiful force of energy to guide me to my own center? That's Virgo. There's no need to fight. There's no need to argue. It's pure transmutation on a personal level. Now we get to the cardinals: Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, Aries. Now, I always say the cardinals do not detach. Yes, they'll walk away, but they will not. The ability to detach from the experience of love is not in the cardinals' Parthenon. The cardinal signs are here as embodiments of that energy, like waist deep in it. They have the ability to engage in it, to get it started, and their element dictates what avenue that is. With that in mind, let's start with Cancer. We have the Chariot and the Moon. When it comes time for Cancers to have to walk away from relationships, probably the least capable of walking away from the energy of love, Cancer must use it to fall into alignment with the direction that they want their life to go in, which again has nothing to do with love. Love lives in the ethereal realm, in the intuition, the moon. So when it comes time for Cancers to detach from love, from the experience, the construct, the relationship of love, it's done so very, very deeply, very intuitively, and very slowly. The Chariot is, like I said, all about getting those dark parts and those light parts of yourself into alignment and heading in a direction that's going to work better for the empire you want to create. The Emperor drives the Chariot. So it's taking control of that experience and utilizing it as fuel to push your life in a forward direction. That's the gift of love, and that is something that Cancer understands on a very intuitive level. There's nothing you can do about that feeling. There's nothing you have to do about that feeling, besides use it as the fuel for your own personal growth. Cancer, like I said, will not detach from love because it doesn't have the ability to do so. It's cardinal water. But what it can do is use that experience as the fuel for greater success in the future. Aries, the Fool and the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor is a shared energy for me with Taurus, all the horned animals of the zodiac: Taurus, Capricorn, and Aries. When it comes time for Aries to have to detach, the fuel of detachment is certainly anger. We're talking Mars here. Aries needs to get angry in order to walk away from the context put around love. But it's because, like all fire signs, there's a need to expand and grow and seek out new adventure. Aries is cardinal, so it will engage in the act of love without regard for what the context is. Where is this going to go? It's purely taking a leap of faith into the realm of the heart. That's what cardinal fire does, on the understanding that as the Emperor, no matter what happens, you have the ability, once again, to transmute whatever happens into a pure experience of the heart. And that's where the Emperor and the Fool fall hand in hand. I can take this leap of faith into a whole new experience of the heart because I have the ability to handle my own empire, to use the energy of love to create once again. Now we get to Capricorn. Capricorn, the devil. For me, again, Capricorn shares the energy of the Emperor with Aries. Within all of the groups, carnal, mutable, and fixed, there's shared energies, of course. Sharing the Emperor with Aries is an interesting one when we're dealing with the devil. Capricorn will detach with control. It will detach with absolute certainty. And once Capricorn detaches from the relationship of love, it's an absolute once again. But the experience of love, the energy, can never be escaped. And that's what the devil is all about. This is about understanding that our temptations and the things that lead us astray from the energy of love come from within. When you have the Emperor and the devil together, it can be, like I said, about wanting to control the manifestation of love. It hurts, doesn't it? Therefore, you will never feel love again. I've known Capricorn is one of the strongest energies I've experienced in my life. It is absolutely everywhere around me and my opposite sign. So in order to actually detach from love, Capricorn has to use control and anger to do so. It didn't behave the way I wanted it to behave. Therefore, I am in control and I will shut it down. The power that Capricorn has is the ability to hold on to the past while still proceeding towards the future. That's actually the energy and high vibe that Capricorn can achieve with this Emperor here. Libra, cardinal air, but it's also Venus. For Libra to detach from love is an impossibility. They are the pure embodiment of that energy. But because it's Venus and because it's Libra, there has to be always that harmonious balance in the relationship of love. So when Libra has to detach from the experience of love, we have justice here. Libra's major arcana. It's because it is not in the full service of love. In other words, I don't agree with the way we're treating this energy. It does not harmonize with Venus. Libra will walk away with love more than any other sign, actually. More than any other sign, Libra has the ability to do that. To say, well, if I love you, then I love what's best for you. And only you get to decide that. Because there's a good deal of arrogance, in other words, out of harmony. Ego. There's a great deal of ego and arrogance in saying, well, that person cannot be happy without me, or I don't want them to be. I love them, but if they walk away from me, I wish them nothing but pain and bad experiences. The devil. Justice comes in with Libra energy as a way of saying, I'm here as a protector of love, not the arbiter of it. I don't get to decide what is best for the person I have love for. They do. But because I have love for them, I want them to be happy. I want them to fulfill their soul's mission here on earth. And if that doesn't include the physical presence of me, it doesn't mean that the love is not real. It simply means that they need to have experiences that have nothing to do with the love shared between the two of you on a physical level. Libra is able to keep that in balance in high vibe form, to keep that in balance and again say, I'm here as the protector of love and I love you. So regardless of what you think is best for you, I'm going to love you. Not relationship, because Libra hates being out of balance and hates disharmony in relationship. So the relationship may not happen, but the love will. And you can carry that with you. You can keep that with you. Because ultimately, that is the gift that love gives us. It in and of itself is the point of the endeavor. The relationship is the human construct we put around it. Love will not behave. I can guarantee you that. If you engage in the energy of love, and it isn't really a choice, you will engage in the energy of pain. It's a given. It drives me absolutely crazy in tarot readings when we hear people say, this person is afraid of love because they haven't been hurt before. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? If you're going to engage in love, you're going to engage in pain. That's the whole picture. You don't get the gift of, it's one without the other isn't even possible. They don't exist in isolation. Because like I said in my last videos, the heart's either open or it's closed. There's no filter. And putting that construct of filter in front of it is what makes it impossible to actually benefit from the gift of love generated between two people. To detach with love, again, is the hardest thing we're ever going to be asked to do, and yet it's the thing we're going to be asked to do the most. I am focusing on the energy of romantic love here, but whether that's with our family, our children, our siblings, whatever the case, their behavior is not going to obey what you put the construct of love into. It doesn't have that, love is about the growth of the soul, period. And if that person, that experience, that relationship needs to experience growth for its own higher expansion, which you're not the judge of, if that's the case, then the energy of unconditional love says, yes, your access to me and my life and my relationship to you has boundaries, has conditions. Love doesn't. If it's going to make you happy in your heart to pursue some experience that isn't in a contextual relationship with me, that's what I want for you, because I love you, and love is unconditional. All right, you guys, that's what I have for you. Again, I'm not coming at this as an authority by any means, because guess what? Nobody is. We're just here having a conversation about what love is and what the nature of unconditional love is. Because love is energy and therefore unconditional. The universe is not magnanimous. It's not like, well, this is love, so everything is going to be beautiful and it's going to comply with the way and it will last forever in the context you put it in. It won't. And the disappointment of that is where the ultimate pain lies. Because you're not saying, no, I don't love that person. You're telling your own heart that the love you feel is false because it didn't behave in the way that you thought it should, or the way the movie said it would, or the way the tarot reader said it would. But love doesn't behave in accordance with construct. Relationship, that's a different story. All right, my friends, that's what I have for you guys. I truly hope you found some use in this. I hope you found it helpful. Like I said, for me, love as an energy is the only thing we've got as a collective here on Earth to actually ascend into a greater place of being. You want the wars to stop? Love, right? That's the energy of it. We cannot sit here and say that all these things, all these atrocities we see in the world have nothing to do with our own ability or capacity to experience love, because it does. We're the collective that forms the whole, right? I love you guys so much. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. Go fall in love, allow love, and just understand that detachment from relationship is not detachment from love. I'll see you guys very soon, my friends. I'll be back with another reading. Take care for now. Bye.